Welcome back to the Old Gal Box podcast. Excited about this week because it is the Farmers Insurance Open out of Torrey Pines, San Diego. Love that place. But our guest is a friend of mine, Daniel Chopra, who is not only a great player still on the PGA Tour and PGA Tour champions and all over the world, frankly, but now I get to work with him on PGA Tour Radio, PGA Tour Live. Daniel, you're a busy guy. I guess you never thought when you would cut down on playing a little bit, you'd be this busy, right? Or is that a good thing?
Oh, it's a great thing. It's actually fantastic. I just love the fact that I love talking about this great game,
Yeah.
and two, it gives me opportunity to, when I don't get to play every single week, get me to do something else that's also involved in this great game as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're great at it. I enjoyed listening to you from Hawaii. First time I've listened to you at length. With the time, I was driving around a lot listening to you, and you did a fantastic job. Hey, tell me this, though, as you hit the 5-0 plateau, the 50 plateau, I know you plan on giving it a go, PGA Tour champions. How's that stand right now as far as getting out there and getting involved with the guys?
Well, I mean, I was a bit unfortunate. At the qualifying tournament, there's only 5 spots available.
Yeah.
I had a 5-shot lead midway through the second round. I was actually 14 under through my first 28 holes. And I actually, after 72 holes, I only finished at 12 under, and I missed, unfortunately, by 1 shot. So
wow.
That doesn't really give me much status. So now I'm relying on either handouts, sponsor invitations, and or Monday qualifying. So I'll be going full throttle on that as well. But it's also nice to, the weeks that I'm definitely not going to be playing, to be able to do TV and radio kind of stuff and talk about the game.
Man, it's hard. I mean, you've been out there a long time. You're a multiple winner on the PGA Tour. You've won like 14 times all over the world. And yet it is so difficult for you guys to get on PGA Tour champions. I mean, that's like the toughest division to get into, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is crazy, really, because I'm finally now, for the first time, we have a website that we have it for the tour and for the Corn Ferry Tour as well, where you can check your status in the field every single week. It's a little bit tantamount to an overbooked flight where you have a 156 passenger plane and there's 300 odd people that have booked on it. So then you see where you stack up on the way down, and then I see the people that are ahead of me and the great names. Most of them are not active anymore, but it kind of blows my mind a little bit when I see some of the players out there that are eligible, and what great history this game has on the PGA Tour champions especially. And I can understand how difficult it is to get into those fields.
Well, you know, we have the big event here in Birmingham, my hometown, the Regions Tradition, which is kind of like the Masters of the Champions Tour. So if you get in that one, I'm here. I can carry your bag, Daniel. I work cheap. So is that enticing to you? Or what?
I know we'll have a great conversation out there in between shots at least.
Yeah, we'd kill some time, that's for sure. Hey, tell me this. You know, with Tiger embarking on playing maybe 5 or 6 times on the PGA Tour in a few weeks at the Genesis, we'll see him out. Do you think Tiger is going to play? I mean, he's 48, and that clock is ticking. When he turns 50, do you think Tiger will play at all on PGA Tour champions?
I actually believe he'll predominantly play champions. I think he'll play the odd major. He'll probably play the Masters. He might play, you know, the Open Championship and a couple of others that he'd be eligible for. The PGA Championship, the US Open only gives you a 10-year exemption, so that's going to run out. But the other 3, I'm sure he'll play those, at least for a while. But I think he'll go full throttle on the Champions Tour, at least play all the majors and a couple of the bigger ones. One, for the fact that he's going to be able to be riding in a cart, which is a huge benefit to him and some of the injuries he's had with his leg and his back. It's just easier on his body. All the golf he's played in the last several years has really been in a cart. And to put him in his own comfort zone, I think that's going to be tremendous for the Champions Tour. And we might even see a few regulation changes at the majors and all that to allow for Tiger Woods to be able to ride in a cart, because what a benefit it would be for those events to have him in the field.
And what a shot in the arm for the PGA Tour champions if that does happen. Even back when Jack was still playing a lot, I mean, he played in only the majors. I mean, Senior US Open, Senior PGA. I mean, he wouldn't play just a regular champions, regular season stop. So I hope you're right. I think that'd be great if Tiger got to play more.
And can you imagine the ratings? I
Oh,
mean, it might even rival the
oh,
PGA Tour events. The weeks that he plays, the PGA Tour might have some issues there because there are regulations in place that like you cannot be playing in
right.
a lower tour event if you're eligible for a bigger event. But the Champions Tour has that little caveat. But if they start pulling away viewership, then sponsors might have a thing or two to say. But then again, they might just then jump ship and go to the Champions Tour as well.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. That's something to look forward to in about a year and a half or so. Hey, Daniel, tell me this, because as we are now a month or so into the new PGA Tour season 2024, and all this talk about team competition with Liv and, Tiger and Rory are going to start something. It's still a great individual game, and you know it. And the stories like Chris Kirk, the comeback story last year, winning down at PGA National, then winning again the Century. Grayson Murray, who admittedly, he said, listen, I was just a big screw up. And he's changed his life and cashes in his first win in about 7 years. I mean, Daniel, golf is great, isn't it? It is an individual sport. And when these guys, and you know all about some of these guys, when they overcome all these demons to get back in the winner's circle, to me, it's just one of the great things, not only about sports, but about golf, obviously.
Well, it's a huge. As a foreigner, obviously in this country, that's one thing that I've noticed in the United States is that Americans love the comeback guy, the guy that's been down and out, more so than the person that's never done anything wrong in the past and has just steadily climbed the rungs of the ladder. But somebody that's been to the top, goes all the way down to the bottom, and comes back up again. He's the hero, and that's understandable. And it's a great storyline. It's great for the media. There's way more ways you can spin a story. And it's exciting for the viewers as well. And it's a human aspect, knowing that people can come back from having been down and out, and that's always inspiring.
Well, in golf, you guys you're it. It's an individual thing, even though you have teachers and instructors and workout people, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it really comes down to you and what's in between the ears. And obviously, physically, you break down here and there because you guys practice and hit so many golf balls. But I don't know. I just think the comeback in golf is really a preeminent thing in sports. I mean, team sports, you have comebacks, sure. But golf, it's all about the dude, the guy, right? And when they come back and do it, I don't know. I think it's pretty special.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's such a tremendously taxing game mentally.
Yes.
And because it is an individual sport, if you bogey 4 of the first 6 holes, there is no teammate out there to help you out. There's no
Right.
coach on the sideline to come and pull you over. You get you and your caddy, and that's it. So, and now he's maybe the version of a coach when it comes to American sport, but he's the only person out there allowed to say anything to you and bring you out of it. And nowadays, the modern day golfer, when they refer to the team, they have such an amazing team, especially the top players in the world. They have physiotherapists, they have chiropractors, they have nutritionists, they have trainers, physical and mental. Then they have their caddy, and then they'll have their manager, and then obviously their whoever their better half is as well. All adds to that team. And nowadays, players, they'll travel 6, 7, 8 people in their entourage. And that's when they say we played well this week. That is what they're talking about. It's a team effort. It's almost like a Formula One car. The driver just does so much, but everything else is the setup of the car around that driver. That's the same thing with golfers nowadays, which is amazing transformation of the sport just in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, I love it. I love it for so many reasons, but that's one of the things I really, really enjoy about the great game of golf. And listen, you're from Sweden. For those watching our pod, Daniel's a Swede, and Ludvig Åberg is the talented young Swede who kind of stormed on the scene at the Ryder Cup. Luke Donald makes him the captain's pick, and everybody's like, why the heck is he picking this guy who's never really won anywhere except maybe on the collegiate ranks, and obviously went on to win the RSM Classic. He's gotten off to a little rough start here early in the PGA Tour season, but what a talent, Daniel. I mean, there's so many great players out there. Nick Dunlap, Gordon Sargent, a couple of kids from Alabama have already earned their card whenever they won it through PGA Tour University, just like Åberg. I mean, all these young guys seemingly are more ready than they've ever been. But what about this kid? I mean, and have you met him yet? Because last year when I interviewed him, he was dying to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet him. I really, in fact, actually, we've been talking about it. We'd love to have him come stay at our house here
Good.
at Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I'll be doing on-course commentary that week, and he'll be very comfortable. He's going to be living maybe less than half a mile away from the clubhouse,
Wow.
so the commute's going to be great. So I'd love to have him come over and stay. I'm maybe one of his biggest fans, and I made this call. I made a call last week, and I believe that if Scotty Scheffler slows down just a little this year, I believe Ludwig Åberg could potentially be world number one by the end of 2024. And that's how good I
Seriously.
think that guy is. Scotty Scheffler, though, however, right now is if he starts making some putts, he's going to be hard to catch. But Ludwig for sure will be top 10 by the end of the year. But I think that if he gets it on the roll, the only thing that's holding Ludwig back perhaps this year would be his unfamiliarity with some of the golf courses. He'll be playing Bay Hill for the first time. He'll be playing Riviera for the first time. Not sure if he played it in college. So learning the courses and the nuances of certain holes and the way greens react to certain shots, like 17 at Bay Hill gets really firm because it's such a flat green, takes a little time to get into understanding where you can miss certain greens and where you need to be aiming. But if he can get over that, and he's done a pretty good job of learning some of these new courses already, but I really believe that that's the kind of talent that this man has.
Wow. Yeah, we saw that in Hawaii, getting his feet wet at some of these courses that he's never seen or maybe hasn't played a lot. And yeah, there's nuances that you have to learn even when you're a supreme talent like him. And obviously him and some of these other young guys playing the Farmers Insurance Open, San Diego, Torrey Pines. All right, Daniel, you played all over the world. Pebble Beach is obviously a glorious place. Hawaii. Where does Torrey Pines rank as far as on the beauty rank as far as courses on the PGA Tour?
Well, first off, I first played Torrey Pines back in 1987 at the Optimus Junior World Championship.
Wow.
The course has changed a little bit since then, but the general riding is exactly the same. The holes are the same; they're just longer. And I remember I had my first hot dog ever in my life at the hot dog at the halfway house there
Right.
between 9 and 10, and I had one, and I loved it so much. I still remember to this day. I had to have another one, and it was like $3 for a hot dog back in those days. So I spent $6, and back growing up in India in those days, we were only allowed $500 in foreign exchange every 3 years. You couldn't cash in anymore because India had a foreign exchange problem. So I spent $6, which was basically my weekly allowance for spending on anything on 2 hot dogs. And anyway, so I played there for the first time then. Tiger Woods then played 2 years later in the Junior World Championship, which he won as a 15-year-old. First time anybody as a 15-year-old had won there. And he began his love affair with Torrey Pines, I think, right there in 1989, I think it was. So I played there many times, and the beauty, as far as beauty goes, it is spectacular. You sit up on that cliff, look out over the Pacific Ocean, and you have these waves that roll in like barrels, and they're so consistent, they break. You'll have one wave, there'll be 150 yards, and it'll break consistently over 150 yards. It's not that choppy kind of sea, it's just these beautiful, amazing waves, and you got these dolphins that go by. So when you get up on those cliff holes on the north and the south course, you can't help but just look out over there. And then, of course, you have the Air Force Base, and every now and again you'll see, I first saw my first ever F-117 flying over there, the big triangle, black one, the stealth fighter. That was pretty cool to see coming in. And then all the jets that fly in, and all those golfers, those pilots, a lot of them love the game of golf, and they fly out over the golf course, and they're looking down going, I wish I could be doing that. And then all the golfers down there going like, oh my God, I wish I could be doing that. So the mutual envy there is quite spectacular. And you just have to imagine that if you tore up those golf courses and put houses on there, can you imagine the real estate value looking out over that cliff?
Yeah, it is amazing, and some of those pilots you might have seen Maverick and Tom Cruise flying up there, Daniel.
I might have seen it more than once.
Yeah. Hey, it's a Wednesday through Saturday deal because the PGA Tour now a couple of years now they don't want to contend with Championship Sunday in the National Football League. Does that any effect at all on a player Wednesday through Saturday instead of Thursday through Sunday?
No.
Yeah.
It's round one, you feel a certain kind of pressure. Round two, you feel cut day pressure. Around Sunday, it's payday. This week it's Saturday's payday. The day doesn't make a difference. All that really matters to the player is what round it's in, and with that comes different pressures, which are all self-inflicted, by the way, anyway. So, no difference at all to the player.
All right, I'm going to throw some picks out there. My picks, Max Homa, the defending champion, and I suspect he'll be in contention again. He's won 6 times in California. Obviously likes playing out on the West Coast. Xander Schauffele's my pick to win, Daniel, and he's never played well. He's a San Diego kid. He's never played well at Torrey Pines. Admittedly, he says he puts a lot of pressure on himself, and he's tried to push that out of his mind. But he said it's always there. But I think sooner or later, he is a supremely talented golfer. Amazingly didn't win a year ago, the whole year. I think it's Xander's time to win, Daniel. And here's the deal, right? He's won a FedEx Cup. He's won the gold medal. He's won some big events. But if he should win his hometown event, Daniel, wow. That probably would be the biggest win of his career up to this point. You think he's got a shot?
Well, of course. Xander is so talented. He's got a shot every week. He tees it up, not to mention the fact that it is a home game. But with that comes added pressure. We all talked about Keegan Bradley winning the Travelers last year, which was his home game, which he would call his 5th major, to be able to win in his home area. You'd have to imagine that Xander would be the same. However, not having won in a while now and not having played his best, even though his standards are so high, it's hard for the layman to actually know the difference. But to then, perhaps the home game will inspire him to elevate his game and maybe get it turned around just a little bit. It's hard to bet against him.
Yeah, I have no analytics, no statistics, which tell me that he's driving it better, hitting irons better. He always hits his irons good. I just think it's time. Sooner or later, a player that gifted is going to win his hometown event. So I think that's a good pick. My long shot pick, and he's not a huge long shot, Hideki Matsuyama. Daniel, what the heck is going on with Hideki? I know we fought some injuries a year ago, but we've kind of forgotten about the former Masters champion. He's still got game, doesn't he?
Well, the way he finished this week at Sony Open, he was dead and buried, and then he birdied 17, hold about an 18-footer, then hold a 15-footer at the last for birdie as well to make the cut on the number. He was fortunate that the cards fell as they did, and he was made the cut right on the number, and he was tied for 65th, allowed another, whatever it was, 17-odd players more to make the cut as well. And then he played well on the weekend. Not as well as some of the leaders, but good solid weekend. So he'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable. He's gotten 8 rounds under his belt so far in the season, and he'll get that train rolling. I'm sure Hideki's problem has always been the putter. Not that's been a problem, but it's actually he hits the ball pretty well. And he gives himself a lot of opportunities. Justin Thomas has the same issue. He hits the ball so well that when you don't then convert those birdie putts, you start pressing a little bit, and then it actually manifests into your ball striking, because then you try to push it too hard. You attack some flags that perhaps you shouldn't be attacking. You wind up short-siding yourself, and then you make silly mistakes, bogeys, and doubles because of it. And then so you almost have to take a step back and just go, let's just hit greens. Let's see if we can hit 18 greens today. And if you do that, as good a ball strikers as they are, they're going to get pretty close to it, at least 16 or 15 greens per round. And then you're probably going to shoot somewhere in the at least high 60s at worst.
Hey, did you like the California swing, or were you more comfortable? You live in Orlando. Did you like the Florida swing better? What'd you like better?
I played better in Florida, but I loved California. It was my favorite time of year. Starting off in Hawaii and then having that California swing. We would ship our car. We'd put it on a truck the first week of Hawaii and would ship it over. It should take about a week or so to get over, and they would be waiting for us wherever the first event was. And we'd have the car there. We'd wash it, and then we'd drive the whole West Coast swing. And then when that got done, Phoenix week, then we'd ship it back to Florida, and then we'd do the car in the Florida swing. But I love California. I still do. I think it's the most beautiful place in America. The Pacific coast and the mountains and the desert. It's all within 3 or 4 hours of each other drive-wise, and definitely. And the courses, especially the desert courses like this week, and then Torrey Pines, Pebble Beach, Phoenix. I mean, it's LA, Riviera with the history there. I mean, all those events are definitely my favorite part of the season, even though I never really had much success. Why? I don't know. But yeah, I love it.
Daniel, it just dawned on me. Those commercials from a few years ago, the most interesting man in the world. I didn't realize it was you. You were the most interesting man in the world. You kind of look like the guy in the commercial. Now dawned on me, you are the guy. You are the most interesting man in the world.
Come on now. I just speak a few languages. That's about it.
I love that. You know, that tournament we were working last year, and you were talking Swedish, weren't you?
Yeah, I made. There was one hole we had. There was an American golfer, there was a Swedish golfer, and there was Anirban Lahiri, the Indian. And so I made three calls. I made 3 calls for 3 different players in 3 different languages on one hole.
I remember that now. I just sat back, and I remember you said, "Do you mind if I kind of take over?" I was like, "Take over, go to town," and you were chiming.
That was
around,
fun.
so.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And the producers in my ear going like, "What is going on?" Although I did share it with them and they loved it.
We woke them up in the truck. Usually they're just kind of like watching golf. They're like, "Is he?"
I don't
actually
understand
talking
the words
Indian?
that are coming out of his mouth.
Good stuff. Hey, Daniel, we appreciate it, my friend. I will see you in a few weeks somewhere. I mean, our paths are going to cross.
Yes.
And either at live or radio. And then what I'm hoping, like I said, when that Champions Tour event rolls through Birmingham Greystone, Mark Blackburn has his teaching academy out there, by the way. Okay. So we can come out there. You can work on the game before the tournament starts.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. You know, this is a second lease on my career, and I'm really excited to feel like a rookie again and get to start playing some tournaments where I'm not getting outdriven by 60 yards, you know, and I'm the long hitting guy in the group again. You know, I'm really looking forward to that.
Daniel, thanks, bud.
Thanks so much, Doug. Great talking with you.